everyone, Tox here from critshappen.com. Thanks for watching and welcome back. A few people have asked me to put together a solo playthrough video of Firefly Shiny Dice, so that is what you are watching right now. We're not going to explain all the rules, we're going to presume that you know most of them. If not, then I would suggest either picking it up and reading the rulebook, or I think there's a rulebook on BGG. If not, I will bug Upper Deck and make sure that they know that I would like one posted, and we'll take it from there. But this is a Press Your Luck dice game, designed to be a lot different than what other Press Your Luck dice games are. This is designed to make you think a little more and put you in a little bit more challenging of situations. Now, there's something that you'll see as we go through the playthrough with the mission cards. They are very hard to complete. And that is thematic with how Firefly was. A lot of the Firefly universe missions were things that they did not know what they were walking into, didn't know how to be prepared for them, and usually sent them for a loop. So in this game, you're going to see me walk through several missions, and I'm not going to actually have very much luck with them. So if you find that the missions are too challenging for you, or if you find that you do not like re-rolling before the missions, I would simply say that you can re-roll after your missions, or you can play as I do a lot of times to make it a little quicker without the missions. Those are two variants that I like to offer up, and people have enjoyed playing those. So let's jump to the table and see what happens when we start rolling the dice. Alright, let's take a look at Firefly Shiny Dice. So I wanted to be able to show you an unboxing here before we play. Mostly because of this insert. We mentioned it in a previous video. So we have the player screens here, and then inside is an insert. This is an insert made by Robert Searing at Insert Here. He does a really good job with foam core inserts, and just been really happy with this one, so just wanted to show it off again real quick. So there are two playmats inside. We're only going to play with one because we're going to play a solo game, so we'll put this out right here. And then we will get out all of our cards and all of our dice. So let's set up and jump into the verse. Alright, so here is Firefly set up. We have our mission cards shuffled. These are sleeved with Legion card sleeves. Very nice. They have the Serenity symbol on it. Looks just really good. Then I've got 100 and 500 point victory stacks, and I've got stacks of 1, 2, and 3 supplies. So this is going to presume that you know the rules, and we're going to jump right in. We'll explain as much as I can as we go along, and let's dive in and play a solo game of Firefly Shiny Dice. So first thing to do is roll all the dice, and it looks like we got a lot of Badgers and a lot of Saffron, so we'll lock these guys in their respective place. Supplies go into the supply hold, and let's see, it looks like we got 2 Janes, 2 Washes, a Mal, and a little bit of a smattering of all the passengers, Simon, River, and Book. Alright, so I don't have an ability to re-roll any of the foes. That's what River's ability. I take that back. I have a River. I didn't even see that there. I have a River, and I have bad guys. Now, I don't have any Nishkas. So that's actually really good because Nishka knocks people out. So I'm actually okay with the way that the foes look right now. I don't necessarily need to have a River, so I think I'm going to re-roll River by herself. She gives me the option of re-rolling her and any foe die. I don't really necessarily need another Jane, so I'm going to re-roll a Wash and a Jane, and the goal here is I'm going to try and get 4 different crew members. So I'm going to keep this Wash there. So let's re-roll these guys and see what we get. Oh, very good. Survey says, Kaylee, wow, we got the whole lot. That's amazing. That's a really, really good way to start off. Alright, so the next thing we do is I check and see if I rolled, in a multiplayer game, I would check to see if I rolled 4 of a kind of foes, and if so, my opponents could lose money. Same thing with 5 of a kind, and in 5 of a kind, I actually end my turn immediately. They just automatically defeat me. So none of that's happening here. So the next thing I do is I look and see if there's a team bonus, and there is a team bonus, which is really cool. So I'm going to deal, because I have 4 different outlaw dice, I am going to deal 1 damage to Saffron. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to get a mission card, so we're going to flip this over. Whoa, boy, okay, you can't take this guy from me. This is bushwhacked. Okay, so we need 4 supplies in order to complete it, which we don't have. So I've only got 2 supplies, so I'm not going to be able to complete this mission. So as much as I might want to push on with this mission, I'm not going to be able to. Bushwhacked is a very specific keyword on the mission cards. It says that if you cannot complete the mission the turn it was revealed, then you must lay low in the lay low step. So I'm going to be bushwhacked on my first turn. So I'm going to make the most of my dice. So let's see what we have here. Saffron is going to attack, and she's going to move someone into the cargo hold. So I'm not too worried about this right now. So we'll just move a book into the cargo hold. Then Badger is going to go ahead and capture supply dice, so he'll capture those. I can then immediately start to use my characters in Serenity during the misbehave step here to defeat people. So for example, I could knock out River and do 1 damage to both Saffron and Badger. She deals 1 damage to each foe guy, or each foe. So I have defeated Saffron now, so I get 100 points in my temporary score pool. Then the next thing I can do is take a Zoe and deal 2 damage to Badger and defeat him. These supplies get captured, so I get 100 victory points, and I automatically score those 2 supplies. They are not something that I would have to wait till the end of the turn. Now, the bad part about this is that if I wanted to press on, I would be able to have all of these dice. However, I got bushwhacked because I wasn't able to have 4 supplies. I only had 2. So I have to end my turn, and I'm only going to end up with 3 points, which is 200 from here, plus your supplies are 2 to 1. So I end up with a total of 300 points for the end of my first turn. So that's the end of turn 1. Let's go on to turn 2. We have to re-roll all of our dice now. Wow, okay, we got more washes, which is good. All right, let's take a look here and get some things separated. Lots of supplies. Now I roll the supplies. It looks like 2 Nishkas, which is bad. I don't like Nishka. He hurts you. 2 Saffrons and a Badger. That was a supply, and that was a Zoe. Okay, so we got, again, well, this is really good. So let's take a look at what we have here, and we'll kind of walk through it. So what I know right now is I definitely have 4 different outlaws. So I'm going to be able to deal 1 damage to all of the bad guys. That's really, really good. So I may only want to reroll this 1 wash right now. However, from a foe perspective, I really, really don't like Nishka because he automatically knocks out one of your dice. So I'm going to use 1 river to reroll 1 Nishka and another river to reroll another Nishka. Now, he is not considered to exist yet because we haven't gotten past rolling the dice and to get a crew step. So I don't get to put 100 points in my temporary score pool. So let's see what we get here. Whoa! Hey, it was too bad I didn't get that bushwhack mission on this turn. I've got 6 supplies now. Holy moly. I got another Saffron and I got another Badger. Wow. Okay, so I didn't roll 4 of a kind or 5 of a kind of the foes, so that's good. I do have 4 different characters, 4 different brown coats, so I do have the team bonus. So I'm going to go ahead and deal 1 damage to Saffron and get one of her dice out of there. The next thing we do is the mission card, so we're going to go ahead and get a mission card, and we're just too pretty for God to let us die. This is an escape mission, which might help actually, and it says that if you can complete the mission, add 200 victory points to your temporary score pool and gain 2 supplies. However, in order to complete this, we're going to need 2 Mals and 2 Zoes, and we only have 1 Mal and 1 Zoe, so this one is not going to get completed this turn either. So we're going to look, and the foes are going to strike. Saffron is going to immediately put 2 people from the Serenity into the cargo hold because there's 2 dice of her. So I will put Wash in there, and I will put Jane in there. Then Badger is going to capture 2 of the supplies. So he's going to capture those 2 supplies. The next thing I can do is I only have these 2 dice in order to defeat the foes, but luckily I rolled really well. So I can take 1 Zoe, knock her out, and deal 2 damage to Badger. These supplies get put into my cargo hold, and I capture them immediately. And I would put 100 points into my temporary score pool for defeating Badger. Then I could use Mal's ability, knock him out, and deal 2 damage to Saffron. So I would deal 2 damage to Saffron, also defeating her, putting another 100 points into my temporary score pool. Now that all the foes are defeated, I would capture these 4 supplies. So I would take 4 more supplies and put them behind my player screen here. I'm going to move these kind of up a little bit. And all of these would go into the cargo hold. So what started off really crazy with 6 supplies actually turned out really good because I only had to use 2 dice. So in my keep flying or lay low step, I'm going to choose to keep flying. Alright, so if I choose to keep flying, I have to leave my temporary score pool where it is. I get to take all the dice back from the cargo hold and Serenity if I didn't use any. The KO pile stays as it is, and then I take all 5 dice here, and I move on. Survey says Nishka, 2 badgers, and a saffron. Keep rolling supplies. This is going to be interesting. Alright, so I have 2 supplies, which I know are going to get captured by Badger. And then I have a book, a Jane, and a wash. Well, I know I'm not going to be able to get the team bonus because I need to have 4 different outlaws or brown coats, and I only have 3 of those dice to work with. However, I don't necessarily need a second Jane, so re-rolling wash and Jane might be a good idea right now. I'm also not so concerned about having Nishka out there because there's 2 dice. If I had 2 rivers, I might re-roll him, but he's gonna KO somebody no matter what. So I'm gonna go ahead and take river and saffron and re-roll those. We'll see what we get. Survey says I get wash, I get river, I get a 3rd Nishka, and I get a Zoe. Okay, so almost a team bonus, but not exact. All right, let's see what our mission card is for the turn. This one, ooh, ouch. This is the Alliance Cruiser. The Alliance Cruiser requires me to have Mal and 2 different characters to be able to complete this mission, which I don't. I didn't even get a single Mal. If I completed it, it says to complete this mission, you must roll 1 Mal and 2 of any other crew members, Zoe, Wash, Jane, or Kaylee. This is Bushwhacked and Sabotage. Okay, so Bushwhacked, as we know earlier, if we don't complete it, we're going to have to lay low. So we're not going to be able to complete it, so we know we're going to have to lay low. Sabotage is a new keyword that we haven't seen yet. Sabotage says that if the mission with sabotage is revealed, you must immediately re-roll all of your crew dice and keep the results rolled. You can avoid this if you complete the mission. So I was unable to complete the mission, so I'm going to have to re-roll all of my crew dice, and that represents everyone that's in Serenity. Let's see what we get here. We get Jane, 3 Inaras, wow, and a Zoe. All right, wow, that's pretty hefty there. Okay, all right, so let's take a look at what happens now. Nishka is going to knock someone out. Now, we know we're getting bushwhacked this turn, so using these Inaras might actually add some extra points to us. However, I'm going to need to do 5 damage to Nishka and Badger completely, so I'm going to need to use my dice really, really well. So why don't we do this? I'm not so worried about losing an Inara. Inara is going to get knocked out by Nishka. There is no saffron, and then Badger captures these 2 supplies. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use Jane and his damaged calm, or damage my calm, and I'm going to KO him and any other die, and I'm going to defeat a villain or a foe no matter how much health is left with them. So that will be Nishka. We will put another 100 points in our temporary score pool. And then we will go to Badger. Badger, I'm going to use Zoe and deal 2 damage to. So I will deal 2 damage to Badger. I will get another 100 points in my score pool. I will collect these 2 cargo hold, or the 2 supplies into my cargo hold, so I'll score those immediately. And even though the foes are all defeated now, I still can use these 2 Inara dice. Because I know that I'm bushwhacked from the mission, it's a good idea to use them. So I'm going to KO her to gain 100 points with her companionship, and KO another to gain another 100 points with my companionship. So I'm bushwhacked, I must lay low, I'm going to have to take my temporary score pool of 400 points, and that goes into my score, my total score, which would normally in a multiplayer game be behind my screen, but in this case is out in front of us. So let's take a look and see how many points we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, plus 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 supplies. That's another 500. So we've got 1,300 points right now. That's actually really good. We're doing all right. For being bushwhacked twice, that's not bad. All right, so now we're on our last, 3rd and final turn. Let's see what happens in the verse. Alrighty, we got a lot here. We got, let's see, 2 Badgers, 2 Nishkas again. Man, I can't avoid that guy. Saffron, 1, 2, 3 supplies. That's tricky. We'll see what happens with that. Wash, River, Book, and a bunch of Mals. We got 3 Mals. Okay, so let's take a look here. So for re-rolling, I will definitely re-roll a Mal and a Wash. And I will reroll a saffron and a river, and let's see what we get. Survey says a lot of Jane. Wow, we're in Canton apparently. Okay, let's see. Another Nishka and an Inara. Okay, great. Let's take a look at what we got for a mission. For a mission, we have Businessman. See? Roots in the community. This one requires 3 badgers, which I don't have 3 badgers. It says that if I did complete the mission, then I move 2 outlaw or passenger dice from the KO pile to Serenity, which would be phenomenal if I could complete that. It also has the keyword of Goram. Now, Goram is kind of the opposite of Bushwhacked. With Goram, the idea of those missions is they give you something really good if you complete them. So in this case, I would get 2 outlaw dice or passenger dice back from the KO pile into Serenity, which is really good. However, with Goram, if you complete the mission, you must keep flying. So you get a really good bonus, but you must press on. So in this case, I'm not going to be able to get a 3rd badger here and be able to complete this one, so we will move on with this. Now the foes are going to strike. So Nishka is going to KO somebody. I'm not too worried about, well, you know, I think thinking ahead, I'm not worried about using book this turn, and I like to have brown dice versus white dice. So I'm going to go ahead and KO book to Nishka. Badger will then capture 2 supplies, and we then get to defeat bad guys. So I am going to KO a Jane and another Jane to be able to defeat anybody regardless of their health that's left. So we'll go ahead and we'll defeat Nishka for 3 points. We'll put 100 points in our score pool. Then, this is going to be tricky here. Okay, I am going to knock out Inara and gain 100 points immediately from her companionship, and that goes directly to my player points, not to the at-risk points. Then I'm going to go ahead and use one of my Mals for his inspiration. And his inspiration is I can knock him out, and I can take 1 brown coat or 2 passengers, re-roll them, and place them in Serenity. Okay, I got a river and a river. Okay. And then I will go ahead and knock out another Jane to do 2 points of damage to Badger, which puts another 100 points in my score pool, gets me 2 supplies immediately, and then because I've defeated all of the foes, I get a 3rd supply as well. And I now have to make my decision. Do I want to keep flying with what I have left, which are these 6 dice, against these 5 guys, or do I want to take those 200 points and call it a day? I'm going to keep flying. Let's see what happens. Alright, so we got Badger, Badger, Saffron, Saffron, Nishka again. I can't stay away from that guy. We got a good smattering of heroes, which is really, really good. So, choosing to re-roll, I definitely want to re-roll River and a Nishka, because I don't like Nishka at all. And I am going to re-roll a River and a Saffron. Now, this is risky, because I'm re-rolling 2 bad guy dice, 2 foes, and I could end up with getting Nishkas again, but I really want to try and get as many Badgers as possible. I know I'm not going to be able to get the team bonus, so I will re-roll Wash by himself with no one else. I like Kaylee and I like Jane, so I'll leave them there. Let's see what we get. Survey says a lot of saffrons. Okay, lots of saffrons. River, Wash, and a supply. Okay, let's see what our mission is this turn. This one is Big Damn Heroes. This one needs 2 Zoes, which unfortunately I don't have again. It says mission complete. Add 100 victory points to your temporary score pool. So that's not too bad. I didn't miss out on too much. The escape is going to potentially come into play this turn, but unfortunately, because I'm not able to complete it, I'm not going to be able to use it. The escape is a keyword that says if you complete the mission, then you can choose to end your turn immediately, gain all of your victory points in your temporary score pool, no matter how many foes are in play. So that could be really good, but I don't have the Zoes to complete it. Now you'll notice, of these 5 missions, I haven't been able to complete a single one. This is meant to be very challenging. There are some people who have told me that they really like the idea of re-rolling before you get the missions, and there are some people who have told me that they really don't like that. There's a lot of people that have been questioning, well, why are you re-rolling before you know what you're trying to get? The thematics of Firefly was that they really had no idea what they were walking into, and sometimes things lucked out and sometimes things didn't. So it is very risky with the mission cards. Sometimes they can be really good, sometimes they can be really bad. I also recommend, I think I mentioned this earlier, for first-time players, playing without the mission cards is a really good idea. And I personally actually like to play without the mission cards completely because it streamlines the game a little more. But if you want a little more added randomness and a little more added complexity, that they can definitely offer that to you. All right, so let's get back to our final turn here. Saffron is going to be messing with us really bad, and I think we're going to get defeated this turn because we rolled those 2 Saffrons. So Saffron is going to have to get rid of 3 people, which is going to leave me with 2 people. And with 2 people, I'm not going to be able to defeat both of these guys. Okay, well, let's see what happens. Let's walk through it. I've got a Jane, a Wash, and a River that are going to go to the cargo hold because of Saffron. Badger is going to capture the supply die. Now, unfortunately, at this rate, all I can do really is I can use Kaylee to deal 1 damage to Badger, let's say, and then, because of thruster overload, I get to put somebody from the KO pile into the cargo hold. Then Simon could be used to bring a Kaylee back into Serenity, and then I could use Kaylee again with thruster overload and deal another damage to Badger, which means that I will at least score this 1 supply and get that into my points, in my total points. And that last thruster overload is going to allow me to bring somebody else into my cargo hold. The problem is now I have no dice to defeat Saffron. So Saffron has defeated me and I have lost, which means my at-risk score pool, which thankfully was only 200, goes back into the supply. So that's the end of all 3 rounds. Let's count up and see how many points we have. All right, so I colored up to make scoring a little easier. I've got 900 in victory points, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 supplies, which means I have 700 more. So I have 700, 1200, 13, 14, 15, 1600. So 1600 total points over 3 turns is a little below average, but it's good. I like to shoot for about 1800 to 2000. So that's your challenge. If you have Firefly Shiny Dice, try and shoot for 1800 to 2000 on solo play. Let me know if you're able to get it. Let me know if you're able to complete any of the missions, unlike I did. And let me know what you think. Leave a comment below in the YouTube channel. Of course, you can chime in on Facebook and Twitter, and you can also join us on crithappen.com. But until I see you next time, thanks so much for playing Shiny Dice. We hope you enjoy it, and we hope you're the best in the verse. Keep rolling those dice, and we hope they're all crits.